All right. Hey guys, welcome to another session with my good brother, Ivan Teller. How you doing, buddy?
All right, greetings.
Good.
I'll be back.
Yeah, man. Always good to have you back. And we've got your little sidekick in the corner there, who is always keeping you company during these crazy
Oh,
times.
it's here in the background. It's here.
She's trying to catch some of the
I've
old.
been I've been trying to catch that on video forever. She does that when she's about to jump or do something. Like she just did there.
Oh, awesome. I'll send. Well, that's
That's
how we got it on
funny.
camera.
I never get that on camera, but she's so funny when she does that. She's thinking and then she jumps.
Man, it's
she dances.
honestly pets, and animals. I don't even like the term pets because they're more than, we
Yeah,
talked about
of
this
course.
before, but they're just so important to us right now, especially in these crazy times, especially the cats. They are so
All
interesting.
right.
But anyway, welcome to again the Cosmic Crypto family and all of Ivan's tribe as well. I always get requests just asking us to chat because obviously we've done this many times and you bring in some of the best energies and beings. So going to be fun. And today we're going to do the usual tap into the check in with the blockchain consciousness, get a market update because it's been crazy, like people trying to predict if we're dropping or going to the moon with the market. So the blockchain consciousness has been pretty on it recently with telling us, rough guidelines of like how low Bitcoin will go. So that's good. And then I thought, hey, in this crazy day and age, we need a bit of a bit of wisdom and balance. We'll call in Plato and Heraclitus first. Heraclitus, for anyone who doesn't know, is an amazing Greek philosopher as well, who was born in Turkey, and he's talked a lot about in the Law of One. He's got some amazing quotes. So we'll go into that and have fun with it and see what's relevant to today. So yeah,
Okay.
let's
All
do it when you're ready, Ivan. Thank you
right.
once
Okay.
again.
All right. So this is the blockchain consciousness. Okay.
Correct. Yep.
All right. Okay. All right. Blessings.
Blessings.
Greetings to you guys of blockchain consciousness. Greetings to you once again.
Greetings to you, blockchain. Thank you again for always joining us. How are you?
Yes, we are always glad to help.
Yeah, I'm
Doing
glad. I'm
well.
glad. This is becoming a regular occurrence, of course, and we are very grateful for all the wisdom and insight you bring us. So I just wanted to open up just with the general question I usually ask: how is everything, vibrationally and energetically in the market for cryptocurrency?
Well, as you know, there's always some kind of disruption, manipulation. I believe around the Doge energies,
Yep.
there's a lot of backlash due to its success. So, but it will find its way back. It'll be very slow, but it will find its back to where it belongs.
Yeah.
So,
And thank you for sharing that. And I believe we do always touch on how Doge and Elon Musk and other people are kind of controlling, that side of things. It's just we see when they talk about it on Twitter or whatever, it makes Doge really increase irrationally, and then it kind of drops down. Touching on Doge, and we'll take a step back to ask about the market and Bitcoin. But with Doge, now we're on the topic. Do you see something big happening in the short term because Flare Networks is getting rolled out and that will allow people to stake their Doge? Will this affect the price?
yes, it will affect the price,
Okay.
but will eventually go back up. It's going to be a kind of a split energy around it, but it will come back to where it's at a healthy price as it was before.
Cool. And has that been a recent shift in how Doge is slowing down with its, market value and market cap, or is it something that they've kind of done their test, the elites, they've done their social experiment, if you will, and they've moved on to another project?
But it's more like Elon Musk is. The test is a lot on him,
Yeah.
how they can rule him. So how easily they can use him for all of this. So, but yes, there's still more tests though.
Yeah.
It's not over yet.
Okay, thank you for that. And just to go back to the macro stuff, the high level. So the market has been very interesting the last 2 months. It's been very sideways and then down, and then back up. So there's a lot of speculation into what's happening in the short term. I know with short term, it's very hard with the timelines, but do you feel, because you've done very well for us, so we're very indebted with calling the numbers of what Bitcoin could drop to. Do you feel Bitcoin could drop as low as $31,000 in the short term?
Oh yes, or 28,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And how is that coming through strongly, or is it just a potential timeline?
It's a potential timeline. We do see 28 is what they're pushing for at this time,
Right.
but we'll
Okay.
go back up eventually.
And is that through manipulation of the usual players like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Energy, or is it something
Yes,
else?
Goldman Sachs.
Okay.
They want to buy more, so they want to manipulate the market.
Okay. And so yeah, do you have any rough timeline for when this could this be? Because with astrology, we'll go into astrology, but I don't put a huge amount of stock into astrology because there's so many different variables. But it says around this time to the 21st, there's a lot of a potential chance of a correction. Do you see it in that time frame before September?
Well, we actually see it. This is all possibility around actually December.
Right.
So,
Okay. Well, that's interesting you say that, because that was my next question was, my gut feeling, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like say I feel the market is going to have a shallow correction, then go much higher towards November, December, then there'll be a deep, healthy correction. And that's kind of what you're alluding to talking about. Is that correct?
yes, December is a holiday of a lot of turmoil, but not necessarily in the negative way. But many markets are going to, just expect a lot to move up and down during, because it's going into the new year. So that's why they want to manifest, the future.
Right. And I love it how you put that holiday of turmoil. That's it. That's a that's a new one. That's
Yes.
a fair play. That makes sense. And what do you see turmoil wise? Do you see an amalgamation of disclosures of truth, corruptions, and also big like tax hikes in crypto or capital gains?
Well, it's with the crypto markets, they're going to shake it up. So they can sneak in either new cryptos or take away values. There's going to be so much turmoil most people can't notice everything.
Right. Okay.
So December it's just their month of just breaking, kind of like a reset.
Okay.
So sometime in December, it's not of course set, but we have feelings December at this time.
And will this be correlated with the financial markets and capital markets and fiat currencies? Are we finally going to see, the hyperinflation that we're going through that we haven't really seen to the surface?
Well, the regular finance, it's a dollar. They're trying to stabilize that as much as possible. There's going to be some inflation, of course, but they're trying to level it, keep the tension off of it. So,
right. Okay.
For the cryptos.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that. And just going back a sec back to where we are. So do you feel energetically, hey, we're approaching what, 45, 46K Bitcoin. Do you see that us going past 50,000 towards 60,000 in the short term up until say October time?
Possibly, but it seems like it's being held. Possibly, it is still being held. Bitcoin is not obviously the most safest of coins out there because of how easily it can be moved around.
Yeah.
But 60 is a projection, yes.
Perfect. And do
Or
you
timing is up in the air though.
Yeah. And with Bitcoin, I totally agree. I personally don't hold any because I don't like the energy, very elite. And of course, like Bitcoin dominance is way down. It was at like 44%, I think it was, which is really far down for Bitcoin. So do you see a decoupling happening between the altcoins, all the other coins, and Bitcoin? Or has that happened?
Well, it already, as you said, it kind of already happened. All coins are always going to levitate in the background. Bitcoin is always going to be the stars, But the altcoins are going to, yes, they're going to be some stars here and there, even beyond Ethereum when the time is right.
Okay, perfect. And just to go into that as well, we'll go into some of the coins that our lovely community have asking about. Can we start with one that we talked about recently, which is kind of like our our go-to Digibyte, which has been recently had a bit of action considering it's been very slow. Yeah, could we talk about the Finnish? We talked about Finland adopting Digibyte for, I think it was digital ID or whatever it was. Could you give us an update on that and if it's happening in the short term?
Well, I feel like long term, also Germany is interested in Digibyte
Cool.
at this time. Sometime they'll come into the news. They have done quietly at this time. So Digibyte, yes, is a good investment. Of course, it's not exactly the move rapidly up, but it's still a good investment overall.
Perfect. Yeah, we're seeing very big things. I know the guides in SL have talked about Digibyte in the thousands of dollars range long term. So do you see
very long term?
Very long term in crypto isn't that long, to be fair though. And just to go into, shorter term, are we seeing Digibyte maybe hit the 80 cent range in like the shorter, 1 to 3 months? What do you feel?
Yes, or $1 by next year. It's
Perfect.
trying for $1.
Okay.
It's getting stronger with it, but still hesitant.
Okay.
So
and how
it's projecting to go to that level.
I see the founder of Digibyte, who seems like a good guy, Jared Tate. He's defending himself a lot recently, saying like he's not holding Digibyte back. When we've had some sessions where maybe unintentionally he is. How is that with his control over Digibyte?
Well, yeah, he's using like secret groups or other groups to do it for him. Like investment groups are doing it for him though. Those that actually sell crypto.
Right. Okay.
Are involved with it.
I think they merged with one investment group. I'm trying to remember their name, but is that who he's using? And why would he do that? Just
it's a third party. Yeah, it's a third party. It's 2 third parties that's doing it.
Okay. And why would he do that? Is to accumulate more coins or just control in general?
He wants to keep it safe. He wants to keep it under his control. He doesn't want to get greedy with it. He has his he just doesn't want to play the game.
Wow.
It can grow a lot more, but he doesn't want it to.
Well, that's really interesting because his social media and Twitter and stuff, he's always trying to, get it listed on Coinbase or whatever. He's obviously promoting it, but it seems to me like he wants the value to increase significantly, yet behind the scenes, he's doing otherwise.
Well, we're seeing it, yeah. It's like manufacturing keeping it, because it would have been a lot larger at this time.
Okay.
Because it's popular, because its popularity.
Thank you for that. And moving on to a token that's been a bit slower that was asked about by one of the group was Moon Token. And we talked about the Moon coins and the correlation to the lunar cycle. Do you see anything with Moon Token, any surges or increase in energy in the short term?
Small surges in the next couple of months. Nothing too quickly. It's not wanting to get too much attention, just like the others. So it's trying to be as healthy and relevant as possible. So it's trying to do it organically instead of selling itself out like others do.
Right. So. Okay. Sounds good. And do you see any amount of percentages it could go up? Maybe a couple 100%. Is that within the realms of possibility?
Well, we see the small percentages.
Okay.
Like 4%.
Oh, okay. And moving on to one of my favorites. I know a lot of people love it. The meme coins like Shiba Inu. We talked about how well that's done since ShibSwap has been launched and how much liquidity and staking is in there. What do you see SHIB losing a 0 in its price? Right now, I believe it's 5 zeros in front of it. Do you see that happening this summer?
Yeah. December, 4 zeros is what we're seeing.
Losing 4 zeros.
Well, it would be at 4 zeros.
Oh, at 4 zeros. Sorry.
So it was 1 0.
And do you see any percentage? Do you see any charts in your mind's eye, if you will?
Yeah, it's like 10% change. It's really, once again, there's so many cryptos out there. That's why things are moving slow. That has a lot to do with it.
Yeah,
and not many. I mean, there's a lot of people involved with it, but still, the market's kind of saturated right now.
Yeah, I think it's 8,900 coins from what I saw in Coin Gecko. So you're right. Yeah, there's a lot. And the fact that anyone can launch coins is kind of good and bad. It's both sides to the, to the
yes.
polars. But okay, that's good with Shiba. And do you see SHIB, getting any attacks on its system, like say with liquidity or any security breaches?
No, not at this time.
Okay,
It
good to
feels
know.
like it's. I mean, it has a lot of tension, but we feel like it will be safe overall.
Okay, and for the meme coins, this just came to me. A lot of them are being accepted on shopping.io to buy stuff on Amazon and Walmart. That's a big use case. I mean, surely that's going to influence price, and with being able to physically buy stuff in this physical reality. Stuff like Kishu, Shiba, Akita, you'll be able to do it with. Is that a big reason for its price action?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, also market manipulation behind the scenes.
Right.
And
what sense of market manipulation do you mean?
Well, when it gets attention like that, when it's being sold on Amazon or anything like that, it's kind of once the gold standard, like it's connected to the elite. Now you're part of our club.
Okay.
So there's some kind of selling out that's usually involved in some form.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
At least in that case.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad how, like, especially we talked about this, the small, medium-sized businesses are really suffering the last 2 years or year and a half, whereas the Amazons, the Netflixes, all of them are doing phenomenally well. It's very hard. And moving on to Kick token, which some people still have in the group, which has still got a big predictions and future for it. It went through a token reduction, which is always interesting. How do you feel about Kick's energy and, doing some big things as an exchange?
Well, it reduced because people aren't feeling it's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So, but those that want to hold on to it long term, you'll see it will change, but it will evolve over time.
Okay.
Maybe possibly a 5-year time.
It's fairly new. And do you see like a good price trajectory for it this year?
This amount it's around. It's at this time just maybe a little bit higher than where it's at right now.
Okay. So it sounds like kind of a light increase.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very light. Yes, many of these are going to be very light.
Okay. And how about a new token I've just come across, which has got I think it came to one of my friends in their journeys for being part of this dragon energy, which some other cryptos have as well. But let's talk about Venus token. It's a newer one. It's very low down. Its ticker symbol is XVS. Do you feel anything for that? What it is it's a digital stable coin on the Binance smart chain. So it's got these big connections and partnerships already.
It has a lot of artificial intelligence connected to it. It probably will do very well. What I'm saying, it'll take a slow growth, but will become popular because of its connections, as you know.
Yeah, it's huge connections, but I saw it was at like $33. I think it was up 120, so it's quite expensive. But I just I was very interested in the symbology of it and its connections. Yeah,
it's going to continue to get big. Well, yes, because it's part of the elite. It's kind of like the elitist coin.
Yeah,
and it's connected to Binance. Yes, it's going to be. That's where a lot of your elites, are technically.
Yeah.
Because they're a part of all these cryptos. That's another way to see how these elites work. You just look at the crypto.
Yeah.
Whereas the popular groups. I mean, of course, they keep themselves pretty hidden, but still.
Okay. Good. Well, thank you for that. And one that we're always wanting to catch up on, which we think is very benevolent, is Bitcoin Black. We usually check in with you about this. Do you see any updates or releases for when Bitcoin Black will be doing its initial exchange offering?
Well, at this time, it feels like it's being held back for technology purposes.
Yep.
They're still going to hype it up. It might be another year. At least from what I can see from my point of view.
Yeah, interesting, because you said last time potentially, it has the possibility to launch in August, September, but like that's just a possibility.
That just shifted.
Shifted. Okay. Wow.
So they're really hesitant to put it out. It might come out of nowhere. It might just all of a sudden, possibly.
Yep.
Yeah, this one's very fragile. They don't feel like they're ready half the time. They feel like they're ready, but there's a little bit of fear there, from what I can see.
Okay. So, thank you for that. Yeah, you did mention that
people can hack into it pretty easily. What I can see from my point of view.
Wow. Okay. And is that in general are you talking about like with quantum computing, or are you just talking about their code isn't there yet?
Their code, yes, their code, yeah.
Okay.
It just feels like once they make it live, that's where it gets kind of attacked.
Okay, got
So
you. Yeah.
well, that's like, and even Digibyte went to that itself, but they had it pretty well down from what I can see.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. That's definitely a bit concerning for Bitcoin Black, but
Yes,
we'll manifest.
just keep your eye on it. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll wish them the
it
best and stay positive. Yeah.
it can become live anytime now. From
Okay,
what I'm saying.
got you. And yeah, going into this, I'm very there's loads of coins we could talk about, but I think it's interesting to talk about. I want to hear your opinion, and I know it's slightly different for you because you don't necessarily invest and all that stuff, which is
Mm,
hilarious. But
mhm,
you know, I'm very interested in, especially where I've been. I'm up in Scotland right now, doing a spiritual sort of pilgrimage, and a lot that's coming up with the water and many sort of synchronicities is with flow, like the flow state. And with this can be applicable to trading. And how do you feel about? I personally like the idea of flow state, so tapping in with your instincts, your gut, into the vibration of a coin, and really marrying that with research, compared to, say, like technical analysis and thinking about things through your mind.
mhm.
Rather just being more logical. What is your perspective on that? Do you think instincts outdo the logic?
Your yes, and yes, your feelings. It's also your connection to the coin itself, your past life lineage. Sometimes people are connected to the artificial intelligence of it. So there's always some kind of connection for or a planet of yours. Some of these cryptos have actually names of worlds. So of course you're gonna be attracted to it. It's like, I don't know why I'm attracted to this, but I can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
The Doge is more of like a humorous. That's an experiment that just something different. It's kind of like a Looney Tune of the crypto
Yeah.
market. It's even kind of like the outsider to some degree, not entirely.
Okay.
But yes, following your intuition. But of course, some are built to fail, meaning some of these cryptos are not going to work. It's all on how you handle it. It's like just like a relationship. You handle a failing relationship like with a coin, but you can still make it work
Okay.
if you put
Yeah.
work into it.
Yeah. No, that's really insightful and interesting. I was just very, very fascinated in that because everyone has a different strategy, everyone has
Mhm.
different development cycles of their psychics or even their mental
No,
ability
no.
with understanding the blockchain. But I'm very interested in, like, you know, dancing, physical exercise, having a good connection with finance, in the sense where you're not longing for it with investing, so that it means you're not as attached to needing that money. So what I'm trying to say is, I
Mhm,
love the
mhm,
idea of just like looking at these coins in our portfolios and which one calls to you, and
mhm,
how do you process that? Where do you feel it? Some people feel it in their bodies, or some
mhm.
will get it in their dreams. So is there anything else you can share about that you
Well,
personally see energetically?
yes, many do pick their coins out of nowhere, just like, oh, that one looks good, go for it. That's usually how it works.
Yeah, usually name or symbology or something like that.
Yes, some
Yep.
kind of, and it can work and it can not work. Some are trying to manifest it to be popular, so they put a lot of their money into it, like Doge, for example. So here, you're supposed to make a lot of money for me. And it doesn't always work, but you can also manifest it somewhere else. Sometimes the manifestations don't work so well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
It's
just think,
just it's just another life experience, just like
yeah.
anything else.
Yeah. And how do you feel about, again, we touched on astrology for predicting timelines. Of course, there's like slippage, stars are beings like us, where they can change things with their vibration or change things on, at the drop of a hat. But to talk about like 13 sign astrology, so including Ophiuchus, being the ether, how do you find that for predicting the markets? Because a lot of amazing mystics are doing that for predicting crypto, to be specific.
Well, they're yes, they connect to those energy fields, and they like become a part of it. Of course, it's not always accurate, but nothing ever is.
Yeah.
And that's what some of your crypto fans are do that. They understand that, but obviously it's a hard lesson for them, especially when you rely on something that might not work out the way they thought it would. So because the energies when it's just like it has a consciousness, so it changes itself. So that's why sometimes projections like, wow, that's right on, and then it changes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
trick you guys. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do that anymore.
It's like that saying, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. It's kind of,
Well, it's almost like watching race car driving in some regard. It's like you're betting on that car to beat everybody.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
It's very similar to that because you have someone in the back and you have many in the front, and sometimes the ones in the back get up to the front. So it's similar. It's very similar to that.
Okay. It's a good analogy. It is. And it's very true, because people love like, the crowd favorite, and especially like the newbies coming to the space.
Yes.
But it's, for me, I get a connection, but I like doing the vetting through, amazing
Mhm.
consciousness or beings like yourself who you
Mhm.
bet the coins. So we're not getting involved in something, but, malevolent, or that's a Ponzi.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you make sure the energies are clear. But of course, there's never any guarantee. Like
Yeah.
with XRP, for example.
How did you, I was looking at my next point, which was XRP, and you just brought it up. So
Yes.
that's an amazing synchronicity. We're seeing it push past $1.25. What do you see going on, whether it's price, or do you see the lawsuit getting settled, or is it already settled?
No, it's not settled yet. Would you see what is its price? $1, you said, or
It's about
around?
it's about $1.25, and maybe let me double check.
It's projecting to at $2 is what I see. Maybe even $3 in its future.
Wow. And do you have any timeline? Dare I ask? Any feeling?
Well, maybe next year. They wanted to get back to where it was. They wanted to get popular. It
Yeah.
has that it has a potential to truly grow. So
Okay. And do you see that connected to XRP going online as such? Like you saw Japan and Philippines
mhm,
hooked up
mhm.
their remittance corridor and banking. Is it because XRP is truly getting utilized as a utility?
Yes, it is. Secretly from what I can see.
Okay.
Quietly, as you
So
know.
would you say XRP is one of the best investments we can do right now?
It's decent. Maybe not the best. It's probably more of your volatile, not exactly the safest, as you probably know.
Okay. No worries.
It's okay. It's good. But there's
Yeah.
others that are more stable than that one.
Yeah, it's kind of like Digibyte Energy recently, where it's been very like a bit of an enigma.
Mhm.
It's either
Correct.
super slow, or it spikes up a lot and then comes down. So it's a tricky one.
Digibyte could be at $5 at this time.
Yeah,
So it's just a lot of yes market manipulation. For it says there's none, but we see different. It's been too popular. It has a stable foundation. There's no reason why it needs to be this low still for this long.
right. And going back to Digibyte, just very quickly, I missed this question, but with Jared
Mhm.
Tate, the founder, is he a good? Do you feel like he's a positive being, or is there something like off here that we're
He's
missing?
medium. I mean, yes, he has some. He likes the wealth. Likes wealth, is what I see.
It seems like he's got a chip on his shoulder, which fair play. He's been in the space a long time, for crypto.
Yeah, it's kind
Uh,
of arrogant.
yeah, I feel that. I've always like he's responsive. He's kind of tricky like that, but in the way he presents himself, there's something egotistical. I don't want to say egotistical, but there's an ego there, put it that way, which
Oh well,
most,
yeah. Well, it is crypto. It is money. It's
yeah,
going to have it. Look at Wall Street. That's the biggest egos on the planet. Even more in politicians. Worse than politicians, actually.
yeah. But he's an idealist, right? And Digibyte started out of the turmoil of
Yes,
2009. So
yes. He's like, yes, and if it's a philosopher, yes, but
yeah.
sometimes it feels like he's becoming more of the problem than the solution.
Agreed. Yep. It's like the analogy I do is it's like I'm a filmmaker.
Mhm.
If I'm creating a project and I'm so obsessed and all I'm doing is staring at it day in, day out, you lose sight of the vision, you lose sight of just logic and other people's, inputs really.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. And last few questions before we move on. Binance have announced like they're doing some big KYC identity stuff. Do you see that affecting some of us in SafePal, the wallet we use? Will we need to declare, or will they freeze accounts if we don't, declare our identities?
Yeah, they're getting that's half and half. If you don't have to declare your identity, you should be fine. But if they notify you, you better. I mean, yes, it's becoming more
Okay.
Yes, it will help if you do.
Okay.
There's no hiding, unfortunately.
Right.
So,
Okay. And do you see any,
push.
because they're putting a bit of pressure on timelines to do that and stuff, but nothing's come up in SafePal. It's externally in
PayPal
Binance.
should be okay. What
Okay.
I'm saying.
Perfect.
Just buy Binance. That's all. PayPal is doing. PayPal is doing the best. I feel there are companies trying to run them out
Yeah.
somewhere.
Well, I need to look into the connections between Binance and SafePal, but SafePal is incredible. Like I
Hmm.
absolutely adore it.
Right.
The only thing is, I think it was part developed with Binance, so that can be a good
Yeah.
thing because they have some big player backing, which keeps them in play, in business, and
Mhm.
they keep integrating new features. So that's good. But
Yeah.
yeah, you lead me into my next question. Like, okay, with tax and everything, you know, I've been doing a lot of work with with research with amazing people like John Singleton, and I've mentioned it to the
Mhm.
group. Do you see a lot of countries adopting cryptos as currencies, as like fiat currencies, like El Salvador, because that will not be good for tax because crypto right now is in the eyes of the law is a property. Do you see that coming into fruition in other, say in the US or the UK, some
Well,
West?
Venezuela, we're seeing crypto there.
Yep.
Like, what is it called? What was it called? Ecuador? What was it?
El Salvador.
El Salvador, possibly. It's
Okay.
still up in there.
Yeah, because interesting you bring up Venezuela because the big cryptocurrencies there are Dash and
Mhm.
also RSR, reserve rights, and they build there and they're a stable coin. So that's a very interesting use case for a country that
Yes,
has pretty much no cash or isn't its manipulated cash. Yeah.
yes, correct.
Okay. Good. And yeah, I think I want to leave it there. And like, oh, one last question. You mentioned a coin to us last time called titanium. You know, is there anything else you can share with us? Because from my research, I found a coin called titanium, you know,
Mhm.
and it looked to me like there was a security offering, there was a few things going on, but I didn't
Mhm.
see a token as such. Is there
Mhm.
anything else you can share with us about that?
Well, yeah, this looks like that's the healthiest coin at this time. There's a lot of manipulation around it, so we don't feel like even going anywhere, from
Yeah.
what I can see. So it's very stagnant.
Okay.
Because there is some government energies connected to that one,
Okay. Yep.
if that matters. So,
Yeah, they're trying to get their tentacles around all of cryptos. So there you go.
well,
It's one of those
yes,
times.
yes,
Yep.
you're yes. Of course, cryptos are used by your shadow governments and things of that kind.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Cool. And yeah. So is there any? You talked a lot about coins, or you mentioned it briefly, rather, that coins with the letter Q and T are very, very powerful and
mhm,
interesting. Do you see, any coins like I saw Qtum? Is it Qtum
mhm,
that exploded? I saw,
mhm,
the Graph is another one. There's Tezos,
mhm,
and then there are a few others too with the letters two and T and Q. Are there
mhm.
any others that we should know about? Because I'm very interested in, just seeing if there's any coins that are going to have surges in the short term.
Well, it's the R, the letter R. That's all we just R. There's other alphabets, but and letters, but R seems to be a strong one for this time around.
Oh, is in for this cycle coming in right now.
Right.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, this RSR we talked about. There's many others on our list. I'll look into them and then maybe we'll do another session. But thank you so much for everything you do for us. There's a lot of
You're
blessings
welcome.
going your way and gratitude. And I'm sure, people always enjoy seeing us, talk together. So looking forward to next time.
Yes, of course.
Thank
There's
you. And
someone.
yeah,
Yes.
could we bring in Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher?
Heraclitus.
Yeah,
Yes, of course. Blessings to you.
blessings to you.
Blessings to you all. Greetings to you. I am Heraclitus.
Greetings.
Yes, greetings. Yes, many humans are not reading very well. They're back backwards with their grammar. There's still a lot of teaching that can be done more at the home, whereas this given to the teacher, which the teacher can only do so much. It is so very true. It's teaching should be more in the home, but many parents do not feel that way.
How have you been reading my mind, Heraclitus? Because I've been talking about this the last week with, my family, my friends,
Mhm.
the importance of language, which of course from
Mhm.
people like you we'd love to talk about. But education is one of the biggest manipulations I see right now with
Yes.
dividing generations. Would you agree?
Well, yes, humans should really have at least 5 or 4 languages. It should be easy
Mm.
when they're growing up. And then you
Yeah.
can learn from those different cultures, connect to the energies of them. So, with all this technology, it is there to scatter the brain, as you know. Come, oh, look over here, look over there,
Yeah.
over here. When a kid goes to school, he's distracted all constantly. So, of
Yeah.
course, to do that to disconnect you from yourself.
I agree. I think I'm a 90s child, and like again, we weren't going to talk too much about different generations, but it's fascinating because the 90s, my generation seems like one of the last that hasn't had full manipulation. There's always been present manipulation of sorts, but now we're in the side of, sexual orientation divide, gender, sex divide, generations. It just, the list goes on. So you're right, distractions and teaching these ideologies in these schools is very toxic. And like you said, bringing it to the homestead, the family, smaller communities to raise amazing children is the way forward.
A lot of your realities, different realities are coming into this world more than ever before. China comes from another reality, Japan comes from another reality, America comes from another place. But now you have the internet, which is bringing all these microcosm realities, very small ones. Some
Wow.
get their own animated shows and things like that.
Mhm.
It's just like hidden realms are getting attention here, which is quite fascinating. Before, yes, you've had that, but nothing like this.
Yeah, I mean, the big ones that come to mind, of course, gaming, like
Mhm.
PlayStation games, and
Yes.
of course that changes like the dynamics of empathy and violence, for example. I know even as a kid, I every now and then enjoyed that. But going into Japan, you mentioned they're very big on these strange animations and all sorts of things, which can really change their social parameters with other women or many other things. So it is crazy, that you bring that up. Just to take a sidestep, Heraclitus, for anyone
Mhm.
who doesn't know this, I came across your work and your amazing wisdom from the Law of One,
Mhm.
the amazing sort of sacred text. Could you
Mhm.
talk more about what are you up to right now, in what planes, any physical realities, and the work you're doing?
Well, in the higher astrals, we're still trying to figure out what can we do for the human, for the physical. How can we expand it? How we can continue it with our growth as many of us incarnated here to from spirit to kind of make a reason for all of this, to help others just to kind of create a home, create a civilization. Because before it was barbarian energies.
Mm,
So Greece was there to bring some kind of civilization. You can call it programming, but it was really to just create the home, so you can have things in your home, just the home.
yeah.
And right now, yes, we are continuing to do that on other worlds, how much we can expand your planet to other places.
Yeah. And
So,
could you talk more about, your process when you're here on Earth? Like a lot of philosophers, whether it be you, Socrates, Plato, and many, many others, even Pythagoras in his different fields. Like, tell us about your journey with tapping into this profound wisdom and compiling it into shorter, passages of work or even quotes. We get a lot these days from memes, which is a different form of quotes, I guess you could say, very different. But could you share more about your process? How did you get these downloads of wisdom? Was it from experience or many other, sources?
some of it was from, yes, other humanoid worlds, some of it from Anunnaki worlds,
Right.
but to make this place a better place than other worlds I've been to. For a physical realm, it's, yeah, like this, as a physical realm, this is supposed to be, you know, just kind of like the where it's all where other worlds can learn from you.
Mhm.
So the idea is to move up the vibrations here the best of their ability.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could, And when you touch on that as well, it's a lot of my research. I'm very, very fascinated in ancient Greece, and especially some of
Mhm.
your works. I've written down some of your quotes I would like to talk about.
Mhm.
But just a sidestep, you mentioned again, a lot of people love to talk about the Anunnaki. I
Mhm.
personally have done a lot of research into them recently. I'm sure a lot of
Mhm.
people have watching this, but the Greek gods, like Zeus and, Apollo and many others, they seem like a very similar energy to the Assyrian kings and the ancient Sumer kings. So could you talk to us? Are they just like another, a reincarnation of these gods? Because they seem to me they wanted to breed into humanity with, woman, and then they wanted to control humanity in some degree.
Well, also for humans to figure out their own footing, their own direction. The idea is to let humans do their thing. Yes, there might have been some manipulation in the past, of course, but humans are manipulating each other.
Yeah,
It's for you to break out of that. It's like many aliens actually step back
that's
and
true.
let humans do. Of course, there's a lot going on currently,
Yeah,
but the idea is for humans to just, yes, end the blame game. Even if there are aliens causing difficulties, a lot of humans are allowing that alien manipulation to occur.
okay, yep.
So,
Yeah, well, the only way I would agree with that, but I would always push back as well that, like, look, these constructs and matrix,
mhm.
grids and many other technologies and philosophies have been brought down from the gods, which disseminate into controlling perception, which of course is a form of,
Mhm.
sometimes where, for you guys, in your times in ancient Greece, there was physical warfare and of course politics and disease. But for where we are right now, it seems to me we have spiritual, mind control, chemical, biological warfare on every level. So what's your perspective on that? And is there anything you can share that you
Well,
think
of course,
is good for us? Yeah.
your world finds a way to build as much chaos as possible. I mean, it's just like a child. It's like, how far can we push this?
Yeah.
And that's what's been going on. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, of course, there's a lot of repercussions to it. So, but yes, there is kind of a manipulation, of course. Well, there's like a script to go by. It's like you have this body, you have this world. This is one way to go about it. You can always choose other ways. That's why I have different languages, different cultures, and
Right.
so forth.
Okay.
So not everybody agrees with what was brought in through Babylonian times. Nothing wrong with that.
So when you,
Many languages have been created organically through humans just because they want something different.
yeah, yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, we can go into that as well. And I was an interesting quote you wrote sort of brings me into what you just said, talking
Mhm.
about how our earth wants more chaos. I presume you're talking about the collective consciousness because
Yes, the
really,
humans.
yeah, humans. And you said opposition brings concord, yet out of discord comes the fairest harmony, which is a very
Mhm.
punchy and layered quote, I could say. So is there anything is really what you're alluding to saying? I don't want to put too many words in your mouth, but you
Mhm.
talking about, of course, opposition being all these polars and sides. I guess could we draw a comparison to what we're going through right now? Like, for example, the powers that be, the cabal,
Yes.
they're showing their true nature, which is the opposition, and now we're seeing
Mhm.
shining a light and having awareness on what they're doing. Do you think we're there, or is there still a lot of work to be done?
You're getting there. I mean,
Yeah,
humans are going against authority, but maybe not to the level that many would like. Some are going against it. Many of you go against it quietly, which is probably the healthiest.
yeah,
But crowds of people are not quite ready, have not got themselves together to like rule out a government entity. I mean, in Europe they've been trying to, but easier said than done. But they just really want things to work out better for them. They don't really want to remove it altogether.
yeah.
But you're actually going into more of a removal of government in the future.
That's great. So you feel like we're on a good timeline with less of this one world state, less, yeah,
Mhm.
draconian laws like we're seeing for vaccines or
Mhm.
masks or whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you have to hit bottom for you to go to the top, as some of you know, the dark side, and for the light side to come through.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
So,
Yeah.
that's a lot of ancient societies grew from darkness, and that's what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But
And I
then, of
think,
course, you become more liberated and positive. but then they can start forgetting it again.
Yeah, and I think you're right, because this is a time loop of, the same behaviors we've seen from, after, from pre-Atlantean times, of people not breaking those behaviors and thinking for themselves. And in order for them to think for themselves, there needs to be the most blatant event that comes to their doorstep, their homestead, to see what's going on, which is, I guess, the darkness coming to light.
Yes, many of the Atlanteans learned, but they felt it within themselves to take away power. It's like, wow, I can really cause some trouble here, can I?
Yep. Yeah.
And many did not dive into it, but their children did.
Yeah.
Or children's children. It's like, we need a change here. And so they cause a lot of change.
Yeah. And that's an interesting thing. Your next quote, which is one that I adore, it's very simple, is where are we? Wisdom is the oneness of mind that guides and permeates all things, which is a great quote. And I just wanted to say, what is your thought between, talking about wisdom and the mind? The mind recently has not been the greatest tool because of mind control and all these things going on. So for you, would you say that wisdom comes from the heart, comes from doing the inner work? What would you like to share on that?
Well, wisdom comes from experience. So the only way to gain wisdom is through darkness. But like a criminal can still be one of the great leaders of your world. It just that so many people are incarcerated, but they're not respected. It's like, what can we learn from you? There's just ways where you can bring the good out of somebody, which is not done here very well. It's done on purpose. You take that good person that might cause a crime, and yes, there's a lot of darkness here, but even so much darkness, there's still, you'd be surprised how much you can learn from those that are just completely horrible. But you can get something good out of them, respect them. But they are a human, and yes, might not have made the best decisions, but then whoever does vote. So,
okay, could you not say experience can come from inner work as well? Of course, like physical experience is very well. We're here to embody the human earth codes.
The human, well, the inner work is doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It's like, there's something you can do that's wrong, but inside it's like, I can do something that's good instead.
Yeah.
And there's much more, but yes, also, just clearing out the family energies, the parents, teaching so you can be more free.
Yep.
It's like, there's a lot of there's just not a lot of teachings for a child to just clear out, just you can say kind of go to zero, you can say. Just clearing out what the family is taught, to keep what's good, but clear out everything else.
Yeah.
So you can go forward more clearly.
Yeah, very true. And I think, that's an interesting thing we always talk about with, if you look at it visually, like your auric field, if you have a lot of suppressed emotion, whether it be with your father, your mother, yourself, a lack of self-love, you're going to have cracks in that field and you won't be able to move forward, and you'll be able to be manipulated a lot easier. So that's a visual representation of that. And this is an interesting one. One of your quotes, everything flows, nothing stays still. And that's kind of what we talked about with moving forward in life or into the astral. I'm very interested in that because, hey, life, it can be very complicated at times, in the sense we have all these interdimensional bodies. We have these beautiful chakras, these energy systems, which flow constantly. We have our blood flow and many other things, our water flowing in our body. Is there anything you'd like to share about your wisdom there, or anything I just said?
Well, the flow is astral energies.
Okay.
Your connection to spirit. To know the mastery of this world is to sometimes ignore the astral, but also trust oneself. I mean, to really allow your one inner self, because people are relying on their guides. There's nothing wrong with that, but also relying on oneself, which is a little bit harder sometimes. But yes, you're actually, when you go through many tests, you really are opening up yourself more beyond. That's why difficulties here are so useful, as hard as they are, because you do feel better after it's over.
Yeah.
During it is another story. It's like, wow, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, but I don't ever want to go through it again.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, it's like that term, evolution occurs through stress. I can totally.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, you create the masterpiece at the end of all that chaos.
Nice. And how important was that from your, just to touch on your life on Earth? Is there anything you look back on and you're like, this is really what forged me into the man I became from some of those experiences? Or is it, I'm just interested in how you found your time on Earth, as challenging as it can be.
Well, as us as philosophers, we really had it lucky because we were given divine knowledge from the higher realms
Right.
to bring guidance, kind of like angels in human form. So some felt we were just wrong for the world or we did not belong there, but we're just there to bring guidance and let others discover what is right for them. But yes, it was a scary time as it is now.
Yeah. And
Just,
sorry to cut you off. And did you I'm so excited about what you just said, because the law of one talks about you, which is very important, I feel, for humanity. Again, it depends on the people, whoever's reading it, to discern if they feel it's the truth or not, but it's such an incredible account, and it talks about you, Heraclitus, and how you brought down this wisdom from the other realms. So is there anything karmically connected or anything you were doing with the infinite creator or with Ra, who obviously in this case is the messenger of the law of one?
With Ra, it was just that Ra has the best, the clearest name, the clearest vibration for others to learn from.
Absolutely.
I wasn't that well known, so not necessarily, but Ra is Egyptian, and that was just basically Egyptian knowledge is basically everyone's kind of Egyptian, you can say, technically.
Yeah.
In their realities, their teachings. So
yep.
So
absolutely.
just Ra was just the bigger ego, you can say.
Yeah.
Many looked up behind, well, just like Yeshua being looked up to Ra, and they still do. So
yeah. And I think it's just interesting as well, because a lot of beings, a lot of groups talk about the law of one, and it's it's really hard for people. I'm not saying people should just do this, but it's hard for people to trust in teachers and just human beings in general. So sometimes these texts, which are such dictionaries of information about ascension and everything else, every particular civilization of humanity as well, and all of our our issues and how the universe works. Could you mentioned angelics and getting it from these realms. Do you have a connection to the angelic realm? Do you have an interest in what some have called the original template, which is an angelic human template? Can you share more about that?
Well, the template is always evolving.
Yeah.
So through the human, it's spirit beings want everything to do with the physical because it's so different than the non-physical. So the temple is how you make it, how you want it. It's different for everybody, and it's just, and many worlds are still discovering like one person. Like some of you can be philosophers of other worlds, and you feel like you're just a regular nobody here. And you're surprised how just a regular Joe can be seen as very important. Look at the person on, the bus driver on this planet, on Earth, help this planet evolve.
Wow.
So
it's
yes.
incredible. And it's amazing talking about that, when I know when I had my awakening with knowing about my alters, some call them twin selves, how we share, some of us, some of these consciousness share the same higher self, and everything is simultaneously happening at once. So that totally makes sense. With, you mentioned a bus driver, he could be doing amazing stuff in the astral, he could be having a very simple life on Earth, which is interesting. It leads me to my next question. Did I've got to ask this, was I incarnated in ancient Greece around the same time as you, or have we had any cross paths in the past on Earth?
Yes, you were during that time. Yes, you were a philosopher, a student, but also a teacher of your own. Yes, they're not really showing me where you were exactly, but yes, you were among the Platos and all the Socrates and things of that kind. So yes, you learned from yes, those that cannot seem to stop talking. So
I was a student of Plato or Socrates, or just like working with.
They're not really showing. It's kind of secret. But you were during that time, way more Plato's time.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, Plato,
it's hidden.
Plato is a big part of the work I'm doing right now, as well as yours. There's something, I love Plato's work, but there's something that talks to me about your work as well. I just find it's very powerful. Now we're onto the topic of the power of words and spoken word. as well. And like some of your, your quotes, for lack of a better term, they are like downloads. They're very direct and to the point, and they shake you
Mhm,
up.
mhm.
So is there anything you can share with us about, now you're on the other side or you're working in other realms? What do you see about the power of word, the power of poetry and writing?
Well, yeah, writing will get more powerful here. Possibly new words being invented. It all depends. You're going to go to another renaissance where words are. You realize that, yeah, the structure of them might be even changed for you to feel more powerful here, because the words are kind of sentences are kind of calmed down. They're kind of just not as strong as they could be.
Yeah,
So the power of language will shift over time.
it's
So
amazing
yeah,
you said that. Yeah, because my next question, of course, is there a mini renaissance happening within art and just in, with
small one right now.
that's why I said mini. I agree on so many levels, and that's interesting. You talk about new words because it's so powerful. I'm just fascinated in the power of the throat chakra. With speaking these words, these thoughts into existence as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget. I had this session with Ivan and a tiger being from Sirius, and they said we could say a single word that would shift your entire reality.
Yes.
So is there anything you could share on that? Did you know about that in ancient Greece?
Yes. Words that I should not be saying. Yes. Just
Wow.
the words that we have, we work with what we have. It's like an ocean of words. You just use the words that you have. Because yes, there are words that open up realms and dimensions and that we're not there to utilize right now. At least during our time, even now. But you will find them. Yeah, when the right person finds the right word, the right place at the right time. Yes.
And one of my favorite quotes of yours I have to bring up is man's character is his fate. So is there anything you'd like to share on talking about character, integrity, many other ideals? Yeah.
Um, for character, I had a disconnect. Can you say that again?
Yeah. So one
Or
of my favorite quotes of yours is man's character is his fate. So
oh yes.
yeah, is there anything you'd like to share?
Well, yes, it's well, yes, because a man's personality can be his fault. It can also be his timeline. Yes,
Wow.
yes, just you can already see it in the person. It's like parents say, "Oh, this kid's going to be great. This kid's going to be terrible." Things like that.
Yeah, I hear you. And it's so true. Like people always talk about money and having things. And of course, whilst, having financial liberation is important, people always forget about integrity, honor, just being, a kind-hearted person, love. These are, to me, they are timeless and, priceless as well. So that's something I saw, from my basic studies of Greek philosophers. You guys, were a lot of you had high integrity. Some had big egos, of course. But is there anything you would like to share that we could learn from your experience on Earth or any other of your colleagues?
No, just to speak your truth. Find a platform where you can speak your truth. There's nothing like speaking what is on your mind. Of course, there's a lot of dangers for us doing that during our time. It's dangerous. There's always been dangers of that throughout history. But truth is really, I mean, some just they might speak their truth and have a short life, but at least you got to say what was on your mind. That's very powerful. Though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really the key. Many do not do that these days, as you know.
Is there, do you see with your all-seeing eyes, with your third eye, your mind's eye, do you see the different vibration in truth compared to something that's the half truth, like visually?
Well, there's always going to be half truths, yes.
Yeah.
It's because not everybody's ready for the truth. So there's always going to be a pullback. Even
Yeah.
philosophy is doing that. Your religion does it all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. And you're right, because speaking your truth, speaking your mind can get you in a lot of trouble at times, but it
Mhm,
really is. Delivery is a big thing as well. You can speak
mhm.
your truth and still be charming or, be considerate.
Right.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. I honestly, it's been amazing to speak with you, Heraclitus. And I just wanted to ask and open it up. Is there anything you feel you need to tell us about? Anything we should focus on, or anything going on in our crazy world?
Well, so now is very important, but also the future. It's always good to have a direction where you want to go. If at least if you're in a place where you feel you are pleasant, you're happy where you are, the future will unfold. But if you're not too pleased where things are going, yes, please continue to manifest the future. The future is key. everything. You can be in the now and be in the future at the same time. So you manifest it into your energy field. So
Wow. Like a quantum jump or something. Yeah, it's a meditation I do quite a lot. And, I think people, can really have fun with their imaginations and meet some of their twin selves in this. So I'll link that as well. But is there anything specific, Heraclitus, that anyone you're working with on Earth? I know you probably can't name names, but is there anything that you're really helping with our evolution or ascension?
well, just helping teachers of other philosopher teachers, energies, and then students, of course,
Yeah.
behind the scenes. Sometimes some politicians, most of them don't listen. So
Absolutely. Yeah, most of them are owned, of course. And is there anything you would, I guess what I'm trying to ask as well is there any way of us like getting in contact with your consciousness, anything that we can, take inspiration if we're writing or doing anything with, wisdom teaching, I
well,
guess.
you can connect to my energies if you feel like you are connected to me at all. I mean, if you feel like there's just an instant connection, that will bring knowledge in.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I definitely feel that. I'd really recommend people, read some of your works and especially your quotes. It's very amazing how such a short sentence can activate so
Right.
much in a person as well.
Yes, of course.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Heraclitus.
All right.
Many blessings. I'll speak to you
Blessings to
soon.
you all. Yes. Many blessings.